Good morning, guys, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check. I, of course, am Snorlax. I'm joined by Tucker, Max, and Dr. Will's Outlook. I believe that we're going to try to get Jackus on here as well. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work. I think there's like a phone computer thing. But either way, guys, we're going to be bringing you some great commentary on markets today. Everything that we're seeing, which includes, like the title is saying, some altcoins that are showing quite a bit of strength at the moment. Especially Ethereum. You look at ETH Bitcoin, I think it's up about 1.5% on the day. The Grayscale Ethereum Trust itself is up about, I think, 3 or 4% actually. So yeah, I mean, you kind of have the continued fallout of the rumored Ethereum futures ETFs. That could potentially hit the market next week. My understanding of these ETFs, though, guys, from what I was reading, I think Gary Gensler had to put out some form of clarification around it. Or Gary Gensler didn't himself put out clarification, but he must have said something to the Valkyrie ETF guys, because they had to say this morning it's a futures ETF where they're going to be, all the buying that will be done through futures will be done by buying futures, and there will be corresponding spots sold off to hedge, right? That futures short or that futures buy. So yeah, no, I mean, altcoins and Ethereum look fairly bold up here this morning. We'll see if it can continue. I saw that Bitcoin itself put in a little bit of a small dip this morning that it kind of ate up. So it's kind of a TBD thing, right? We're more or less still just chopping within this range, awaiting a high time frame direction. Yeah, I'm not really sure when it's going to resolve, guys. I wish I had more information on that. It's starting to eat away at our psyches, I can tell. But as far as legacy markets go, I continue to watch the dollar and the VIX. I think those are the two most important charts to guide what we're seeing in legacy, of course. And they're very confluent with the fact that you have ES battling with a potential daily market structure break. If that level goes, if the VIX breaks out, if the dollar breaks out, I think if any of those things happen, you're going to see further stress put on things like the S&P, things like the NASDAQ, and obviously all of those assets that are, that make up those indexes. So yeah, I mean, I would say for me, the question still remains, is the VIX done? Is the dollar done? Are these things that are putting pressure, not just on market participants, right, but also liquidity within the markets, which thus puts more strain on market participants. That's why I've been putting so much emphasis on these things. But let's get right into Bitcoin and crypto, guys, because we do look fairly bullish. And we're going to do something that we usually don't do. And I want to lead off by talking about Ethereum, specifically how strong it's looked against Bitcoin. I will say one thing about Ethereum that I have noticed is that it did sweep those 3 equal highs that it had just left sitting there for quite a while. So we did hunt the closest topside liquidity on Ethereum outside of, a rate on like 1750, 1780. So I think this is a big level to look for a reaction from both a bullish and bearish standpoint. But guys, how are we doing and what are we seeing in the markets today? Based on kind of what we're seeing in altcoins today and what to expect here heading into October. Happy Friday, by the way.
Happy Friday and happy last trading day of Q3, man. I can't believe it's almost Q4 already. That's absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Wes said good morning, D-Gens and Evan. Good morning, Wes. And also good morning, Evan. Yeah, I mean, I was pretty clear yesterday on our Twitter space, if anybody caught that, and in our Discord, that from what I was seeing, I thought there was a higher probability that beta was going to get chased here. Things, ETH and ETH derivatives and just the whole ERC20 book was going to get walked up. And my hunch for that was the ETH BTC pair looked like it was going to move. And it's, like Tommy mentioned, it's up a little bit today. We're holding pretty really important levels on ETH BTC. I will go as far to say that this is potentially the global bottom on ETH BTC. You may have just witnessed it when we dip below 0.06. I know that's a bold claim, but I don't think it's impossible. And furthermore, actually, let me just I'm gonna see if I can share my screen here because I got some good levels on it. But I will go as far to say it's not impossible. And I tweeted this the other day. I said we either hold here, right here, or we're literally going down to this red line at 0.04. And so far we are holding. Moving to the monthly time frame, you can see the reason I have this here is we got a nice monthly order block, which we're holding beautifully. Moving down a little bit, you can see that we had this kind of normie, like goofy little trend line, but it's been respected once again. So similarly enough, roughly around this distance out from the third Bitcoin halving, we had a similar bleed into a high time frame multi-month order block, and we spit right out of it. So I am seeing the possibility that ETH BTC has potentially bottomed here. And that doesn't mean that you're going to get crazy expansion out of ETH or anything like that, but it means that it won't bleed too much against Bitcoin. So just to be clear on what that means. So, I'm looking at a whole bunch of things. I'm looking at mostly just playing spot markets, but I'm definitely interested in ETH and Bitcoin, and chasing some beta. But I also think that this looks really good. I think that NQ looks really, really good here for a nice little bounce. Picked up some exposure yesterday. This was the level that I really wanted. We were in this falling wedge here, and we swept some equal lows, bounced right off the bottom of this falling wedge trend line into a weekly imbalance. We're moving up, and there's also a lot of forced selling into this low. So I think it looks. I think the markets look pretty good, man. I honestly think that they look relatively primed for some upside continuation. But today is important, and it's also important to mention that we do have Q4 starting next week, so it's likely that we set some sort of low of Q4. I think it's more probable than not. So, just to be clear, like today's important, but we really want to have a strong start to October. And something to discuss about October as well is that specifically for the NASDAQ, going back to 1985, it's the best performing month. Actually, second best performing month behind November. So October and November are the two best performing months for the NASDAQ going back to 1985. And a lot of that has to do with seasonality, where August and September are bad. And then you typically get a recovery into Q4, and you get that Q4 Santa Claus rally. So, kind of as expected, August and September, it looks like September is going to finish red here for the NASDAQ. I mean, it's almost over, and we're down like 4% from the open, give or take. But August was red, September was red. And, again, typically when we get a red August and September, October and November are like face ripper green. Just going back and looking at the monthly performance basically over the past 3 decades for the NASDAQ. So given all of that setting up, and us holding pretty critical levels, I'm leaning bullish. I'm leaning bullish for now, but I reserve the right to flip if necessary. I definitely, it's markets move quickly. Markets move very quickly. You got to be able to pivot. But right now, things look pretty good.
Tucker, what do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say I mean, agree generally. I think you've had some good points, Tommy, about at least the VIX, like kind of needing to hold here, man. Like if you're bearish, right? You really don't want to see that breakdown. The dollar came right into that level that I had marked out and bounced pretty aggressively. So, I mean, it probably does trend higher, but I mean, I can't deny that the S&P looks decent. I mean, and we've talked about this gap before. Like, you shouldn't get up there, right, if you're bearish. So, I don't know. I think today's close is going to be important. Obviously, there's a lot of OPEX and volatility shenanigans going on, I'm sure. But if I just look at something like Sol, like it looks like a lot of altcoin charts right now. You know what I mean? It looks like it wants to It's like it wants to bust out of there, and you're right.
I can taste that steak, Tommy.
You're right about the market structure breaks.
Bro, I
It
was just
hasn't-
about to point it out. But you caught it. Go ahead, Tucker. Go ahead and cook.
Yeah, you know, you gotta get above there. I know it's not quite a market structure break yet, but it is range highs.
It did
I
this
guess.
last time, Tucker. It did this last time. It did the exact same thing last time before reversing. You can look at the pattern at the very end of September. Those candles that were painting looked very bullish relative to the structure. The end of September.
Yeah, but he did add the context that it's got to
further
get
back.
above there.
Here,
A little bit further back.
here.
Yeah.
Of the end of August. Yeah.
It's painted these before. My point is more so like I've been saying the word meme a lot on this show, and I'm going to say it again. But I think that confirmation's a meme, but to a certain extent, like this is a very clear and defined downtrend on Solana until you see a market structure break. Like that is how Solana has traded basically all year, where you get the squeeze and then it just bleeds out incessantly because there's not really demand. They're just kind of systematically squeezing shorts and eventually they find demand lower. But there just hasn't been enough demand to really push these squeezes beyond, you know, like the ones that we've seen. And when those go, they go, right? And you just step out of the way if you're bearish, or you hop on board if you're bullish.
I mean, you just created a mortal sin by stating that confirmation is a meme.
It depends on what you mean by confirmation, right? Like confirmation is often indistinguishable from cope, is what I would say. But I think confirmation, if you're like waiting for confirmation to have to, I don't know, it's kind of like a catch-22, right? Because like you need to have some confirmation to enter a trade, but at the same time, like waiting for it, you know, it's reflective of low confidence.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think if we get above 20.5? Right.
If we can hold, I mean, if we can like accept, I don't think it's going to be one of those things where like you put a candle through it and it's just going to go. You're not really going to dilly dally around with resistance very often if you're going to put a candle like that.
Tommy, let me present you another scenario. Okay. Going with that, I don't need confirmation can also be considered stubbornness.
I don't know about that. It's more that the market has been, I feel, baiting people within this range, both into breakouts and breakdowns very consistently. It's been happening on both sides, right? And it's, you know, why would I assume a trend in Solana when it has, you know, it's continued the structural downtrend that it's been in for effectively multiple weeks now.
Hey guys, can you just tell me if you hear me well and all is good?
Yeah.
Sound good.
Awesome. I connected via my laptop in the end. I managed to connect it there, so good. although I'll have to leave pretty soon in like 5 minutes.
Oh, good.
So
All right, let's hear from Jackus then if he has to leave real soon.
Yeah. Well, wait. I'll start my trading view on my laptop, and we can join quickly. I have to set it up everything, so I apologize for that burst pain. Oh no. I'm not connected on my laptop on TradingView. Anyways, continue. I'll set it up in the meantime.
We were just kind of going back and forth on some crypto.
I mean, Tommy, don't you think that the PA looks similar to late 2019?
Not particularly, no.
I mean,
what if you squint?
One squeezed into a new high,
like
the other was a persistent downtrend.
I mean, this was a downtrend, and then you got the nuke candle, and then you went sideways. Right?
Tommy, you have to open your eyes so you can see the chart.
Will, I have been opening my eyes, big man. Like I've been making money on shorts in this range even still. It's just like bulls keep talking about this breakout, and it's like is the breakout in the room with us? I haven't seen any strength, man. We haven't broken any levels of market structure. Like there
That's
hasn't
true.
been
No, Tommy,
bullish.
look. I agree. There's no structure right now, but I think there's no structure either for downside at the moment for Bitcoin, at least. Like
I don't
we've
agree with,
structured.
see, I don't really agree with that either. Like I feel like we are in like we have begun a new downtrend from the recent highs. Like that's kind of how I'm viewing it until we flip
You've
market
got a
structure.
double bottom here. You hit 25K twice. There's no downtrend. It's sideways.
No. I agree that we can definitely be in a downtrend, right? Like we could fully be in a downtrend, but doesn't it look like one of these
Those are
little
lows.
scoop outs? You know what I mean? Like we should at least get back. I think we at least get back to like 28. You know, like that's not.
I mean, we could, yeah. I mean, I
Like-
haven't ruled it out. You know, I said yesterday I could see us trading to 28. I'm just very skeptical about a breakout above 28K until it happens.
Can I get
It's
28 too?
more- and it's like I said on Market Talk yesterday, it's more a result of me being bearish on market liquidity than I am actually being bearish on anything else. Like market liquidity has been a perpetual state of decline, not just in markets, but in crypto too. I mean, the fair value of the S&P is 3,400 for crypto. I mean, we've had all this liquidity, even though we've been pumping, that's been leaving crypto. It's difficult for me to envision a sustained rally given that backdrop.
I want to push back on that just a little bit, right? And that's on total. Total actually has been fluctuating between 1.017 trillion and 1.02 trillion. Like we haven't actually been going down in market liquidity. We've just been staying stable in market liquidity. And I'd argue that's what's been kind of holding Bitcoin from going any lower. Is that
But I will say I see people exiting stables on chain. Like I see liquidity leaving on chain through stables and cashing out. So market capitalization is, remaining similar, but this is kind of goes to the question I've been raising over the last few weeks. Like how much collateral is actually in DeFi and crypto? If people have been taking profits on, and we have stables that are being burned on chain, which signifies that people are cashing them out to USD. What does actual collateralization look like? If meanwhile we have the market capitalizations remaining somewhat unchanged.
If you're considering that some stables are getting burned, it could also be a rotation to other stables. It could be a rotation to other capital. Like that's why total is much more important than stables themselves, because it's very difficult to tell stables are moving up to other stables, right? Because you always get some kind of FUD with USDC where people are like, they can freeze it, which they can, right? And then people drop their USDC and go over buy USDT. And then you get some FUD, USDT is not collateralized, and they drop their USDT and they go buy USDC. You know how this market is. It's very, very rational when it comes to stables.
And I wanted to point out an interesting thing that, kind of on that topic is USDT dominance looks set to fall. USDC has been seeing constant outflows. I think USDC's market cap is down about like 25% over the last few months because of outflows. But I think it's interesting that you have USDC and Tether dominance essentially looking as weak as they do. And I think that USD prices look equally weak. So I think that could be implying a pretty tumultuous period for the market. Not that anybody really wants to hear about that, but I'll be bullish if you guys can show me a breakout. Like let me be clear. I need to see.
Is 28 the breakout, Tommy?
If we break out through 28, I don't think it's going to be like a wick. I mean, it's probably just going to moon to at least 30K without any pullbacks. That's what I envision a breakout to look like.
Yeah. I mean, that is a very fair point. Like right now we are underneath very, very heavy supply. And yes, things are climbing up right now on the lower time frames, but this isn't a high time frame confirmed breakout yet. We could talk about speculating on a breakout, trying to buy before a breakout, but you're right. Right now, we are still ranging with very heavy supply above head. That doesn't mean we can't go into it, or try to work through it. But I mean, just Tucker has the line drawn right there, give or take. That's probably not going to be that easy to chew through on the first go, if I had to guess. It's a little heavy. But I think if you get above that high there, Tucker, like the grayscale news high, I think that high should really be protected, truthfully. Like if we even wick above that, I'm inclined to think it's not just a wick, even if there is still supply above head.
Yeah, I mean, give me another 1,500 points on Bitcoin, and like that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, this is not. I'm not like bullish for the imminent bull market at this very moment. I just think some charts look good. I think Sol looks kind of good. I think Total looks all right. You know, I don't know. We'll see. I think ETH looks pretty good. Now,
I
equity.
think at the end of the day, it's not people saying, "Hey, we're going to 40, 50K," even though I meme it a lot. It's more like people saying, "Hey, there's upside potential here. The momentum is in favor to pop up and take some liquidity, even if you're bear." You see what I'm saying, Tommy?
I see what you're saying. I think I just kind of disagree with the notion that momentum is now shifted to the upside. I still believe we're in a downtrend personally.
Yeah, but I think you're looking at it from macro, whereas like a lot of people could even be looking at this as a micro move.
Well, even I mean, I trade momentum too. Like I use high time frame moving averages, for example, to kind of show me the trend. Like I use moving averages specifically so that I can visualize what I think that the trend and the trend strength looks like. And I believe that the trend is still lower, especially looking at altcoins. I can get maybe more bullish on a Bitcoin move, but I just can't get bullish on the move on altcoins.
Even with ETH BTC looking the way it is, Tommy, you have to admit it doesn't look terrible.
We had a futures ETF in the summer of 2022 pump us much harder than what we have seen so far. I expected more, honestly. Because I closed my sub shorts like the other day. I expected the futures ETF to cause a much bigger move higher than we've gotten so far.
I don't know if I would tie. Oh, we lost Will. I don't know if I would tie this ETH BTC move solely to the news that we had on the futures ETF, because I mean it hit support and it bounced off of it before that happened. So maybe it's acting as a bit of a tailwind, right? But in my opinion, we were gonna bounce here, or we weren't. There's also a monthly order block, Tucker. Like if you go to I know the monthly's kind of a meme on the show,
monthly.
but yeah, but like the monthly order block right there,
Yeah,
we're holding that nicely. So I think we were bound to bounce here at least temporarily, show a little bit of resiliency.
I would agree. I mean, momentum is well.
Oh dear.
What I miss? I was
flag
on.
me. Oh man, nothing.
Just some Tucker alerts, man. That's all.
Yeah.
ETH Bitcoin's actually coming into a level. I'm curious to see the reaction here, because when we talk about market structure, this daily gap that we're about to trade into, you can accept above that. I think that's a pretty significant one for ETH Bitcoin.
So one more thing speaking of ETH BTC that I think is pertinent is Wes had a really good point here. Historically speaking, Bitcoin outperforms ETH in Q4. What makes you think this is the bottom for ETH BTC max? So pulling up the monthly returns chart for ETH BTC, the second half of the year, basically starting in June, all the way through December has been terrible. And then January through May has been very good. But yeah, Q4 specifically has been pretty bad. Horrible. There's a few green months scattered here and there. But yeah, Q4 is not great. So I mean, that's another really good point. Like it doesn't have to happen again, and we could certainly get, a month of green, or maybe two, or maybe the whole quarter or something. Who knows? But yeah, historically speaking, ETH BTC has not done well at all in Q4. So it's interesting to see the confluence, though, or like it kind of coming to a head where we're sitting on top of high time frame support. And last cycle, about this same amount of time out from the Bitcoin halving, ETH BTC as a pair put in a bottom. And we didn't really expand that aggressively upward, but it didn't go down much further. So it is interesting to see. It's contradicting, right? We're at support, but also historically Q4 has been terrible for ETH against Bitcoin.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it could hold here and bounce a little, but Yeah, if you don't bottom in this order block, you're
Oh, I'm here. Okay.
you're going a lot lower.
Oh wow, what a horrible comment from Sheik Struggles, man. All right, we're gonna ban this user permanently on this channel. Wow, what a terrible thing to say, man. What a freak. What an absolute freak. Okay.
What do you think, Will?
Which part?
You eating your burrito?
Yeah,
Oh,
he is,
my
man.
bad on the comments, bro.
What protein did you get, Will?
Oh, yeah. So, carne asada,
Nice.
the good stuff. It was grilled fresh, so really good. You guys wanted to see it, huh? Hold on, I'll show you guys.
Grilled fresh with the tears of my counterparties.
It's gonna be good, guys. It's gonna be good. Look at the tortilla. You just get one of these, and the market goes up. That's it.
What's it doing on lower time frames?
Which one? ETH BTC?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I definitely get if you're not bullish here, because you do have a lot of resistance overhead. I just think there's potential to run up from here, especially when Bitcoin moves. And then because here's the structural trend I've been seeing, at least over the past couple of weeks. SPY has been getting completely annihilated, right? And you would expect price to follow on crypto. If crypto we're going to go lower, but instead we ranged at 25, and then we sat at 26, and now we're sitting at 27. Now, if we went back to below 26, I'll be like, oh, this thing's probably reversing, right? But until that happens, I have to look at this like up range, up range, up range until it isn't.
Yeah, well,
This looks
Yes.
good. Sorry, I just wanted to show this quick. This just looks really really strong to me. Just saying.
That looks like a solid hold.
So far, for now.
So far, yeah.
You're back, Tuck.
yeah. So
I think equities looked horrific, but if you look at SPY right now, like that buy up at that low, that's a strong move. That's I don't even know how. I want to be bearish on SPY because the puke we just had, but that move on SPY was strong. That pullout game on SPY was really strong.
Pullout game on SPY. Here's the
It was pretty strong, man. It was strong, but it could just be coming back to fill in that gap.
It could be
gap in the chart.
I don't
it
even
could
think
just
it's
be
gonna fill the gap.
rebalancing.
I think if you fill the gap, you don't want to short it. It's like one of those things.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think you want to short a gap fill. It's like the perfect retest meme, man. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens. Yeah, that'd be aggressive for sure.
Gap fills always fill at some point or another. It could be later, it could be sooner.
This is what Tommy's been talking about, and it is a bit worrisome.
Okay, Will,
if we lose that support, I will be bullish. Let me say that. I'll be explicitly clear. If the VIX starts to nuke, I will be bullish.
What level is that, Tucker, specifically?
About 16.
So if you see a 15 handle on the VIX, Tommy, then you're out of short positions and you're bullish.
I mean, maybe not like a 15 hand, but if structure clearly looks just wrecked and there's no reason for volatility to continue rising, then yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to be bearish at that point. You know,
I will say this is the zone
9 or 10 at that point.
Tommy, this
like
is the
retracing
zone.
this whole move you're talking about.
Yeah.
If we lose that level, yeah, and it confluence with DXY potentially pulling back too. Lots to look out for. We're at an inflection point, no doubt. No doubt. What were you saying, Will?
No, I was saying we're below the zone where I was talking about where we would reject. We did go a little bit above it, but then we fell back below it. We're below that midpoint on VIX. So I mean, overall for me, like I've never been a VIX bull. I've never been a VIX is the thing to pay attention to. But I do look at it as like an indicator in a sense, but I don't let it decide my decisions on trading. I would say this, like if we looked at things like Bitcoin, all that good stuff, because I know somebody pointed out, Matt here said, remember months ago you were talking about capitulation before the halving. Yeah, I mean we've been structurally sideways. I mean that sideways is capitulation as much as lower is capitulation. Again, time capitulation and lower capitulation, they both are the same, one and the same. If we continue to trend here for 2-3 more months, I would arguably say might move up. I would say that. And that's just because we moved up the low. You hold the 25K range. At that point, you got time capitulation. But keep in mind, as long as you're before the halving, you have risk. After the halving, historically, Bitcoin's never really dipped that much. Right? You're not going to have much a very good odds in your favor of a lower position after the halving. Pretty much it'll either trade sideways or rip.
Yeah. I mean,
So real quick, couple things we got to talk about first.
yeah.
One, there's 20 likes on this video. We got 35 people watching. Guys, thanks so much for being here on your Friday, the last trading session of the quarter and of the month. So guys, if you could, we've had a really great quarter. Please consider supporting us on this show and this channel. Hitting that thumbs up button for us. Our TP for likes is usually always 30. I think we can bang that out pretty quickly. Let's see if we can get to 30 likes on this stream. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. We hope you guys are enjoying the stream. And also, I think we should pull up Ox. I've seen a few comments about it. We should pull up Ox and talk about that quick. I'm sure a lot of people are curious.
I don't know. I think some people are memeing because they think it's funny because they missed out on all the moves. I'll tell you this: look, when Ox was talked about, people made money on the moves. They definitely made money on the moves. People got in, people got out.
Market
all that
cycles.
good stuff. Market cycles. These things, definitely.
Look, this is I mean, so what happened here, guys, is this was a news catalyst. If you didn't, Average Dad says, "Don't do it, Max." It's all good. We'll talk about it. So I mean, look, here's Zoo apparently was apprehended or something. I don't really know the details. I guess I'm gonna wait and see, just like the rest, see what happens. But yeah, I mean, the knee-jerk reaction, of course, is people selling their native exchange token. But I don't really think at this point this draws into question the solvency or the viability of the project and the exchange. I guess I'm speculating, right? I don't really know for sure, but he was certainly a part of it. But they've got a big team. It's not like the exchange lost all their customers' funds or something. Somebody involved in the exchange apparently got into some trouble, which I'm not really sure what the issue is. I haven't looked into it. I don't even know if it's public yet. I don't know. But point being is, I guess we'll see what happens, but I'm not really going to be buying any here until I have some clarity. I'd rather wait for it to V recover, or hopefully it V recovers, and then I hop in once I feel like it's safer, just because I don't know why what happened. So I saw a couple questions. How low will it go? I don't know. I mean, I would like to think it's probably done, but I have no idea. It's a weird situation where you get a news catalyst like this and something dumps or pumps. You never really know for sure. But there's definitely a lot of panic right now, and as far as I can tell, the exchange is still up and operating, and it has nothing to do with the exchange other than one of the key members of it got into some trouble, which I'm not really sure in any of the details beyond that. So yeah, I guess I don't really have anything more to say. I know Mike said, how about the Ox play, gents? It's just kind of just a wait and see period for me. I'm not really sure what's going to happen with Ox, but I think people are probably just panic dumping. At least that's what it looks like on chain. So anyways,
I will say this too, we were really adamant in our Discord, and a lot of people were, that they were out of the Ox play.
Yeah,
and let's be
clear about the Ox play. right?
Yeah.
Our Discord was alerted to the ox play about here, right? So let's be fair. Let's be fair. It is
And a lot of them did get out near the top.
Guys, look, guys, you don't even need to go there. Like it's crypto, things happen. This is a micro cap startup exchange token. And we had some fun with it. Yes, there was certainly advocating for, profit taking along the way, which we did. So it is what it is, hopefully it recovers. And during an event like this, you just have to look at the utility of what this token is, right? Does it lose its utility if it goes down in price? Does something happen with the exchange if it goes down in price? As far as I can tell, the answer at these levels is no. So you'll just have wait and see what happens. This news just happened like an hour ago, so that's kind of it. I don't think we need to get into it more. Like it wasn't a rug pull. It was a nuke on news. There wasn't like a liquidity pool that was drained or something like that. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see if it's a news catalyst to be respected or faded. Time will tell. But let's talk about some other coins and projects. I think we can just wait and we'll continue to cover this like as time goes on. And hopefully we get some more answers.
Pepe.
I think Pepe looks good, man. Yeah, we got into some Pepe yesterday on that vertical accumulation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like it wants to ramp a little.
You need to reclaim.
Yeah.
That right there. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get above here, basically.
And I like it if you draw that line further to the left.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah, right there. Because if that happens, then this is potentially a deviation below that support. And if you reclaim it, the expansion upwards could be pretty aggressive, right? But of course, conditions for something like Pepe are going to be largely determined by how ETH is doing and how ETH is performing. So you just have to be a little bit aware of that. If ETH doesn't continue to grind upwards and perform well, then it's unlikely that Pepe is just going to do its own thing. So
Somebody's asking about RLB.
RLB ripped yesterday, man. Is it up today? Not so much. Tucker had 10 cents.
The first on-chain token to get a bid in this.
Dude, I had 10 cents marked out perfectly to bid, and I didn't buy it, man. I didn't follow through.
I did that same thing at 7 cents, Tucker, before the real pump. I had it, and then I said, I want 5 cents.
I literally was martingaling in here, man. Literally martingaling, and then caught that.
Evan Casey just said, I have my whole net worth in XRP.
Evan.
That's scary, Evan. I wouldn't go full port anything, man.
Evan, congratulations on your first 2x in crypto when the next bull market comes.
Think we get to $1, Will?
Y'all got to see the meme I just sent the market check chat.
Oh my god.
Oh, we're having fun, man. It's Friday. I hope you guys have had an enjoyable week so far. I mean, markets as a whole, it's like we try to make money day in and day out, but even still, you have all this other, especially in crypto, just side entertainment that you're just happy to be a part of or avoid at various parts of the week. Bear market things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just saw the meme. That's so funny.
It's pretty good.
I actually don't think the XRP Bitcoin chart looks that bad, though. I've said that on the show before.
But look, Tommy, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. What's XRP's market cap?
It's huge. I recognize that. I absolutely recognize that.
I told people this in 2021, and they were telling me how XRP is going to $589.
Wait, Will, market cap doesn't matter. It's just about what the price is. XRP, if XRP goes to the same price as Bitcoin,
look,
oh my gosh, man.
Max, if I will $1 million, it will come. I just got to think hard enough, and it will just show up in front of me.
That was the funniest thing with SHIB, man. When SHIB was at the all-time high, and everyone was like, "If SHIB goes to $1, I'm gonna have this much money," and they didn't realize it would be like larger than the GDP of like every country combined together.
Yeah, like come
It's just
on,
crazy
man.
price targets.
The price targets were out of control in 2021. I mean, XRP couldn't even make it to $2 in 2021. And it was, sitting easily in like 50, 60 billion market cap. Okay, let's say it goes to 100. Like what is people's expectations here? I guess at the end of the day, like what is your expectation? Are you expecting XRP to soak up all the liquidity in the world? Like, I don't know.
The only thing that I'm expecting to soak up all the liquidity in the world is Pepe. I'm just kidding, but I think it could do well. And there were some very specific conditions that you said you wanted to see met, Tommy. I won't mention them live, but there were some very specific conditions that you wanted to see met, and they were met.
For Pepe, were they? Did he? I mean,
he's gone. You said you wanted to see everyone forget about it because it seemed like too obvious of a play, and you wanted a particular individual gone.
I
you
did
got
say
what
that.
you asked for.
I did say that.
You said that.
Long-time listeners know who that individual is. It's on my Twitter if you really want to find it. But
so I ask you this then, Tommy: if conditions have been met, when ape?
When I have confidence in majors that I don't have currently. I know that's losing a little bit of the reward, but I limit the risk by doing so. Because I think if I'm wrong on Pepe,
Hold on,
it's turbo beta to ETH.
Tommy, have you gotten sucked into the macro analyst or the TA?
I'm looking at the TA explicitly for what it is, man. Like macro analysis, I don't care, but the TA is pretty clear to me.
Because I'll tell you this: anybody who got sucked into the macro recession, bear market, if you did that in January, you got destroyed. If you were short in this market, you were done.
I don't think Tommy's thesis, as he's presented it to me, is like a macro LARP. It's more about based on technicals. He's just looking at different technicals than you.
Yeah, I wasn't really saying that towards Tommy. I would say that more to the audience, because I feel like again, I'm not trying to gloat or anything like that, but I feel like here we've been on top of price because we've been on top of TA. Whereas other people, if you'd listen to them all year, you'd still be sidelined. And we're still above the lows, right? We're still above the lows, well above them. So, your whole thesis, if you were a macro analyst, is that I'm going to stay sidelined. There's no reason to go in, and I'm going to buy bonds.
Yeah, I mean that certainly hasn't been the winning strategy. But I also don't think it's smart to preach that macro doesn't matter in conditions like these, because I think it has a time and a place. I think if you're too hyper fixated on macro over a long period of time, you're going to be poor at executing, right? The name macro, right? It's not micro, it's macro. This stuff takes years to play out.
Yeah, but that's the point, Max. But everybody's calling for the downfall this year.
Well,
it never happened.
Hold up, let me finish. So in 2022, they were spot on, man. Like they understood what was happening, why it was happening, and what was most likely to come after that. A lot of these guys are still thinking we go on to make a new low. And I'd go as far to say I think that they're probably right that equities do go on to make a new low at some point. But where they're wrong is that they don't have any concept of day-to-day price action or week-to-week price action. It's long-term, multi-year, multi-decade positioning. And they get so caught up in that they can't execute. So would I ever follow a macro guy or do any portfolio positioning based on what a well-known macro analyst is saying on a Twitter space? Absolutely not. I think I could learn from them, and then I can use that knowledge to help position my own long-term bags from an executionary standpoint, somebody that's a trader. So I think there's a time and a place for macro, but look, it's going to kick back in next year, I think. Once the Fed is at the tail end of the pause and we start cutting, there will be a time and a place for it. Will it affect Bitcoin? I'm not so sure. I think the knee-jerk reaction probably, but there definitely will be a time and a place for it again. But this whole year, turn your brain off. This whole year, turn your brain off and look at the charts. but it won't be like that forever. There is a time and a place.
No, I agree. And I want to be upfront about it. Like, I think macro matters, and it matters in the way that you said. You want to know about it, you want to understand it, so when these certain conditions arise, I need to continue to pay attention more, right? And whereas, like, if you're not under certain conditions, hey, it's take a trade and let it play. And I think that those are those are two different things that a lot of people don't get. Like 2022, I was not really as much in the macro as I was TA, and I could see the writing on the wall and the directionality, right? And then during 2022, I spent a lot of time studying macro, understanding macro, but I never let it derive my directionality, right? I've always paid attention to it, and like, okay, under certain conditions, this happens. So as soon as the Fed starts hiking, you're going to start getting downturn. So you got to start looking for that. And then there's a ladder end of the curve, and that's the problem with macro guys. Macro guys don't look at the curve, which curves up before it curves down in time, right? And what we've done is we've chopped down and curved back up, and then chopped down and curved back up, and then that's how you get lower highs and higher highs, right? That's your curve. And they look at this like, oh, it all just has to end now. At least a good chunk of them, not all of them. I know there are some good macro guys out there who are calling like decent distance out, but like a lot of this, like TA guys have been on top of this, is what I'm trying to basically say.
I will outtrade the macro guys using astrology. It is that simple.
That's correct. Tucker, talk to me, man. What are you looking at?
Oh, nothing. I mean, I'm just, I worry about kind of what Tommy's talked about, of like, if the VIX is able to hold here and if the dollar is able to hold here, it looks kind of good. But yeah, no, just generally on what you guys were talking about, I think fading macro from now forward gets more and more precarious, right? Like, you could have done it all year and been fine, obviously, but I think
there's a time and there's a place.
Well, yeah, I'm saying if you continue doing that, I think over the next months and months, like, it's gonna, like, you don't want to fade it at the end of when it didn't matter into when it's about to matter, right? Like, it's probably gonna matter here soon. So yeah, I'll just say that. But I don't know. I mean, what are equities doing real quick?
Giving a little bit back, but not really a whole lot.
I don't know that we're going to get real movement today in equities, given that it's the end of the quarter and that we have a potential government shutdown over the weekend.
End of the quarter and end of the week.
Let's talk about the government shutdown. What are the implications of that for equity markets and I guess crypto?
I'm not going to LARP like I know. I'm not going to LARP like I know.
I can tell you.
I'm curious if TLT would be affected by that.
I could tell you, if the government shuts down, markets are going to rip. I'm not saying that from a bull side or bear side. I'm saying because there's nothing to prevent any type of price action movement at that point. Government, so markets. Hold on, I'm gonna need something. I'm gonna tell you. So markets love divided government. This is why they tend to play the Supreme Court against Congress. And that means they vote in both directions, and they try to get the Congress and Supreme Court split, and they try not to have them as one. So whenever you have a president that's, we'll say, a Democratic president, they try and make it so Congress is Republican, or vice versa. Whenever you get a Republican president, they try and make sure Congress is Democrat. And they do this to keep government and president from working together, right? They keep them in a kind of a standoff or lockstep. So they can't do anything. They can't operate. They can't make law. They can't get things through. They're going to continually disrupt each other. What that does is that allows markets to move however they want. Whereas if you have a government that's working together, you get a lot more red taping, a lot more issues when it comes to they basically regulate harder. So they love when governments shut down, when there's this or that. Now, granted, initial reaction of shutdown is going to be retail sell-off, right? So retail sell-off, and then it's going to be a ripper right after. And that's what I've tended to see. or have what I have seen in the past when it comes to government shutdowns is you do get the sell off. You do get the initial sell off, but you also get the ripper right out of that, and pretty hard.
All right, I want to let Tucker cook because his face was
Go
his
ahead,
face
Tucker.
was about to crack
Go
me
ahead.
when I saw it.
Yeah.
Tucker's like, I was born in 2019, and I know what the government had.
I was born in 1995, brother. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why. Like, I think it's bearish from the standpoint that, kind of like Tommy said in the Discord call, right? Like, you're not going to get unemployment, you're not going to get data, and then I don't know what happens with the Fed meeting, but I doubt that. I don't think that would really happen. I don't know why that wouldn't cause, like, if you think of the VIX as a measure of uncertainty, not even just fear, but uncertainty, like that's the definition of uncertainty, right? And I realize that they won't be able to pass any bills, and there'll be like a standoff and whatever. But I think if you believe there is government intervention in markets on a daily basis, which there is, right? At least in the bond market. I think if you hand the market over to Ken Griffin and give him no intervention, he's gonna tear you in half, man. I think it could get wild. So I don't really know if it's bullish or bearish. I would lean toward it being a little bit bearish, but I also think they'll probably resolve it. It's kind of like the debt ceiling thing, man. Like it's all just kind of
There you go. You get it. That's why I'm saying
it's kind of bullshit, honestly. But
yeah, you're gonna get the retail sell off initially, right? But then after that, you could definitely see a rip because it's like every other catalyst, right? Whenever they throw out a bear catalyst, just be like, oh, it's bullshit. Whenever they throw out a bull catalyst, just be like, oh, it's bullshit. That's just the way you have to take it when it comes to government.
yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, they should have it resolved this weekend, or should it happen then? What is the deal?
They could shut down for a week. It won't matter, man. I think like just people read into that stuff too much.
I think
Can
I
we
could see a
Google-
sell next week if we shut down, and then a really sharp bounce if they finish.
Yeah.
Like
Can we Google
exactly.
like previous government shutdowns and overlay them on the chart? Just see what's happened. That might be the actual best way to go about this.
I will say one thing I wanted to point out that I hadn't previously thought about that Tucker kind of made me consider was if the government is shut down and the market starts to like seriously drop, it's almost like it forces their hand to, come up with a deal so that they can get back to markets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Wow.
it's gonna force them into a position to make it run.
Wait, can you guys see this?
I mean, there's your answer right there.
It rose during 5 and fell during 5. So
Going in
Okay,
blind.
so we've derived zero signal.
we
Very
have
good.
no signal.
1976 is not a marker, bro.
If you like coin tosses, this is your kind of market.
Yeah.
Look, you go off the recent data. The recent data from the last shutdown was a massive run.
Recency bias, Will. I'm bullish, but I can't let you get away with that. That was sloppy.
1976. They didn't even have computers in
Since
1976.
1976.
Would you know that, Will? Were you born then? I know you're old, but
Look, I was born 10 years after that. Okay.
okay.
That's how old I am.
86.
Excuse me.
Wait, Will, did you experience Black Monday?
He was a year old.
I was a
Will
year
was
old.
trading at a year old.
Yeah,
man.
what was it
He's
like
got fun.
trading that, Will?
Look, I had to pull the nipple out of my mouth, walk down to the stock market, or actually crawl at the time because I hadn't walked yet.
Buy all the
Crawled
puts.
down to the trading floor.
Crawled down to the trading floor and told them, "Hey, we're not gonna have this. We need to fix this."
And then you bought everything, right?
And bought everything.
Scooped
Bought the
up all the
bottom.
cheap assets.
Scooped it up. I mean, this is what happens when you pay attention. All right, this is what happens when you pay. Before you could walk.
Oh, man.
man. Yeah, I mean, recent shutdowns have actually been bullish catalysts. But again, I think there's certain there's certain criteria that definitely matters, right? If they get a shutdown, like I don't know if you guys remember this last time. Do you guys remember like throughout all of 2022 and 2023, were there not continuous threats of a shutdown? And that payments wouldn't go out, and if you were if you were on SSI, you wouldn't get your check, which is bullshit. It was just a lie. Because like you get your check regardless. The only people that don't get paid are government people. Everybody who's on checks can basically get paid through the Fed, and so on and so forth. So like this is the problem with the news. It tends to lie in a direction it doesn't want you to go. So
if we get a shutdown, are you just like long, like so long?
Not initially, no. I'm gonna look for a bounce.
I think that'll be.
I'm going to look for a bounce.
I think we're going to dip next week, and I think the bounce is going to be arguably just as juicy as this downtrend has.
It'll be violent, yeah, exactly. And I think that's where a lot of people are going to get caught off sides. They're going to bid short on this. It's going to run down. It's going to be in their favor, but then it's going to come back and eat them alive.
I had kind of actually mapped out a scenario where we go to like 3,900 next week and then bounce up to 4,200, 4,300. I think that would
3,900 would be deep, man.
It would take out both sides if that happens.
I'm bearish on the S&P. I believe it's seeing a high time frame trend reversal. Why can't we go to 3,900?
3,900. Oh my god!
I don't know.
That would be insane, bro.
I would argue with SPY structure still intact.
I do not think 3,900 is coming soon. I think 3,900 will be tested again, but it will not be this year.
Yeah, if you go to 39, Tommy, you're going all the way back to the lows.
That's what I think, Will. That's what I think.
Bounce at 3,900.
I think you bounce at 4,100.
I think you talk about a market structure break and clear invalidation of a trend. I don't see how you go to 3,900 and have any hopes of remaining in what could be considered any type of uptrend.
Invert the S&P. Let's take a look at it.
All right, let me get rid of.
If you look, I gotta go, but I'm just gonna tell you guys. Look, we got a 3,900. We're going back to the lows. I have no doubt about that.
I would agree with that, Will. I would agree with that. That's why I don't think we have the luxury of going that low. I think 4,100 is as low as you can go.
Hang on, we got
same here. I think there's too much liquidity below 4,100. People that missed the bottom are just sitting there waiting.
Tucker, how did you pick these colors, man?
I don't know. I just like them. They're nice.
Can I insult you quickly?
No.
Okay.
Wait. Oh, I screwed it up.
Goose said, hey, highlight that, Max, that last comment.
Phase TA. Well, today is a full, or it's a full moon actually, but it's a very weak one supposedly. Full moon in Aries, but because of Mars, it's weak. I have no idea anything beyond that, but October has a lot of important lunar stuff. So especially involving Pluto, which is the planet of destruction, which is also kind of why I'm partially so bearish for October.
You mean October?
Yeah, the lunar TA that you get.
You mean October, right?
October.
When was the harvest moon, guys? When was the harvest moon?
It was technically like a week-long thing. Corn moon was today. So I thought that was kind of ironic.
How's corn futures doing right now?
I don't know. I just call Bitcoin all the time. So when I say corn, I'm referring to Bitcoin more often than like actual corn.
I thought that should be bullish. That should be bullish for Bitcoin then, man. Corn moon.
Look, guys, you guys got to stop pronouncing it wrong. It's Bitcom. All right.
Bitcom.
It was one of the congresswomen the other day said Bitcom is disrupting the markets.
Nothing is better than Mongoose coin.
That darn Bitcom.
Ruining
all the markets and things.
I mean, look at this. What do you make of that?
What do you mean? What do I make of it? Like, does it look bullish or bearish?
Bullish.
I think
it's about to take those stops. The equal high.
I mean, dude, I would. No, man. You might retest the underside of that base right there. Like move the white line, Tucker, to the other side of those lows. No. Right there. You might retest that, man. You shouldn't get beneath that.
Man, we're totally taking those equal highs.
Those are not equal highs.
You're right, they're equal lows.
No, they've already been. There's already liquidity taken from there.
Hang on.
And Tucker's stupid Haikanashi candles are trying to paint a bias picture.
Check that article that was posted, you guys.
Oh no, man. I don't know.
She sniffed on it too.
Listen, guys. Uptober. Leia Halpern told me Uptober. Okay, it's gonna moon. Nothing more
Max,
to say.
I did hear something with October. October is the month where we get over 20 likes.
Will, we're way over 20 likes, bro. We're at 34, man.
Oh man. Look, October's already playing. It's already in play.
That's right.
You tell me? You got to get on the bull side.
Here's the conflicting.
Well, if I flip to the bull side, you're gonna be the first person to know. I promise.
One of these is lying.
Oh, man. Look, Evan told you right there. Look, go ahead and highlight that last comment there, Max.
Hang on.
No, the last one. The last one.
I'm gonna play a short video for you guys.
Is it Rich Strike winning the Kentucky Derby?
No.
Forgot about that.
October. Oh man. Bro, I love these memes. Like
this was 2021 at the top.
oh man. I know we meme guys, but we went through this, so you know it's not like we're making fun of people.
The memories, man, the memories.
Yeah. Hodlers. Imagine being an altcoin hodler.
Have you guys never seen this? It's insane.
I've seen it.
Oh, look, I've
been
never
a while.
seen this. You gotta send this to me. Poo coin. Are they even still around? That's actually interesting. I want to see that. At the end of this, somebody should take all this film and at the end put FTX January.
Man.
Tommy, which one's lying here, man?
Oh,
tell me.
I mean, you guys know where I stand. I view the momentum that we're seeing on equities as pretty strong right now, and I think that they're probably going to bid volatility next week. So we'll see, I guess. But I if we get through October unscathed, that it's going to be pretty hard for me not to be in the bull camp. I'll say that. So my invalidation, I think, is as important from like as much as I want to see market structure breaks. Like I think it's time related too. You know, if we're still at this price in November, it's a very different story, I think, and we're probably having very different conversations than we are right now.
Hey, Tucker, what color is that candle? That last Haikanashi candle there at the end.
I knew you were gonna say something about it. Well, I knew it.
It's red, but it should be blue.
No, Will, Haikanashi
on the soul. Breakout in the room with us right now.
It's the breakout in the room.
You got to make a meme like that. Post it.
You know what's not in the room with us? This guy's in the room with us, man. Oh, creepy little cake alien.
Eddie, we did the cake. Eddie, we did talk about OX midway through. So if you want to check it out, go ahead and roll back. We don't think it's a rug. It's just really bad news. That's all. But the project's still up and running.
And equities. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that equities are going to go lower and then bounce super aggressively. So, I mean, we'll see what we get next week. But I think the shutdown really does create a added layer of interest for me, more so from the fact that data last month wasn't necessarily good. So if we don't get new data, it's not necessarily a situation I think the market's going to be super aggressively bidding. What do you guys think about it from that standpoint here before we start to wrap up? Because we've been going for a little over an hour at this point.
Will, you go first.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh my God.
So specifically around the idea that we won't get any more government data this month, like CPI. We won't hear from Powell. So what we got last month is what we're going to have to sit on this month, and I don't know that it's an environment necessarily conducive to fostering a bid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound overly bullish, all right? But we tend to, when
Yes,
there's
you
no
do. Will.
directionality.
Yes, you do want to sound bullish. What are you talking about?
When there's no directionality from government or no type of, and we've seen this all year. So it's not like I'm making it up. When the government isn't making any decisions, nothing's going on. We just tend to go up, and just up and up and up. And I'm not saying October, but like I am saying, like there's a good chance for a fake out into a breakout. I'll put it that way. That's my thoughts on that, at least for now, right? Look, and I told you, Max, I gave you guys my conditions. 3,900.
I know.
We're going back to lows.
We can't breach 4,100, man. We could wick to like 40.50 or 40.80, but it's got to be like a snapback.
It's got to be.
We cannot go below 4,100, man. We can't close below there. It's over if that happens.
It's a problem if you go below 4,100. That little vertical accumulation structure we did before breaking out.
Yes.
I don't think it's a deviation or anything. You hit 3,900. Like I think you're in a structural downtrend. Period.
Yeah. You got to hold 4,100. I'll allow for a wick. I happen to agree with Will for the most part. I think given the backdrop right now, I would lean, but I would kind of agree with you, Tommy. Like maybe a knee-jerk reaction down and bullish October. I think the data we've had recently is not terrible. For example, it's a little bit contradicting, right? CPI up a little bit, jobless claims, initial claims like down. So people still have jobs. People working in the private sector still have jobs. CPI is not like aggressively climbing up. It's a little bit sticky. So I think markets will most likely just float upward. I think the people will just bid knowing, we're not going to get a curveball from the government. What does it mean for the bond market? I have no idea, man. I'm not even going to pretend to know. I hope not like more capitulation, but I would honestly hope maybe we get the opposite where they say, the Fed's not going to hike. The government's just shut down and people just kind of left curve bid bonds thinking, they can't take terminal higher if there's no one there to take it higher. So I don't know. I have no idea, but I think equities could just kind of float up.
Tucker, what do you think?
I think buy every 5-minute pullback. No.
So beautifully put, Evan.
You guys see the Discord?
What?
In the crypto channel?
When breakout, yeah. No, I think next week will be telling. I don't know what the government shutdown thing could be a nothing burger, honestly. So I don't know. I just want to see how indices and the VIX react. But oh god, I need some coffee.
Get some pre-workout going, man.
Oh, that's a good idea. Rather than coffee. Yeah, I think there's a case to be made for higher for sure, but I'm still skeptical of like a monstrous rally, but I do think we could definitely get like 28.2 in the short term. I'll say that, but yeah, about it.
Yeah.
All right.
No, great stuff, guys.
Take us out, Tommy. Let's do this.
Sounds great, guys. Well, I guess we're going to get news on that shutdown over the weekend. We will see how that kind of impacts markets over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I would say I'm kind of similar in the camp of Tucker right now, where I could see a short-term relief rally, but I'm really skeptical of any upside beyond that, to be honest. So let's see. I mean, right? This is the opportunity for bulls or bears to prove it one way or the other. So yeah, no. If you guys are still here, shout out for if you've been here since the beginning, that is. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for spending your Friday morning with us. Thought we had a great show. Talked about a lot of very relevant topics, and yeah, no, y'all have a great rest of your weekend. And a reminder, if you really enjoyed the show and you want maybe a bit more of a deeper look at how we're managing the market on a day-to-day level and our positioning, we do have some links to premium. We do have some premium links in the description of this YouTube video, as well as the link tree of our Twitter bio, including a free month in our Discord. So no cost to you to just check it out and try it. But yeah, let's see what we get this weekend, right, guys? We'll see what we get. And have a great rest of your day. I'm going to be watching college football tomorrow, probably, and make sure to spend some time with your family and touch grass, right? The old saying.